And as always, reviews and comments are welcome on the show. Look for us on our social media handles at Joy News on Facebook and on Twitter. You can send us a tweet with the hashtag #ThePulse. We'll be glad to share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Once again, you're welcome. My name is Francis Aban. Now, as the world marks the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, we're bringing you the story of a young man who is determined to eradicate poverty from his family by using his inheritance of crop farming and livestock at a time majority of his peers are either dreaming of working in plush offices. He's determined to get to the top of the socio-economic ladder by using agriculture. On the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba was on the streets of Kotobabi where he met Gideon Paddy, a 27-year-old farmer who is determined to make a fortune out of a small family inheritance of livestock and a farm.
Kwabena Boateng, he is in his mid-30s and started life as a farmer in the village. He quit and moved to the city. I met Kwabena Boateng on the streets of Kotobabi. He says he is comfortable with life as a construction worker. He says never again would he go back to farming, something he considers tedious and cumbersome.
I came from the Mayan Crow, our side. After you hear that some people used to go to Italy, Spain, or that, it's because of farming they used to go. But me, I tried that kind of farming now, weeding. I weed always say 4 or 5 acres to get something to go to that kind of Libya. But at the time I finished this kind of weeding and sow the maize, now the rain is not falling again. So what should I do? So since there is a no, if I came to Accra here, it would be better for me to be staying in village. Because if I have Accra here, doing security work and even get 3 million or 2.5 crore, it's better for me to be weeding these 3 months or look at some years before you weed and before you prepare everything. As I'm here now, if I calculate as I'm here and at village, even my village they prefer that I should be here than coming to the village because there's nothing there for me. The weeding, as I'm here, I can't weed again. If you say that a day you give me, let's say 50 Ghana to weed from here to here, I can't. But I know that the construction work I'm doing every Monday, from Monday to Friday, I get 2.1. From Monday to Friday, I get 2.1. My father is weeding, my mother is weeding, I also weeding. It can't help me. So if I'm here, I think it's better for me.
Agriculture is the mainstay of the Ghanaian economy. But like many other sectors of the economy, it has its own challenges. A cursory glance at the basic school textbook will reveal some of the challenges, from bad roads to post-harvest losses, name them. Today, on the day for the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, we are here on the streets of Kotobabi to find out from some young people whether agriculture is anything that they would love to venture into. From here, we'll be having interactions with a young Ghanaian farmer, Gideon Paddy, who is braving the odds.
Unlike Kwabena Boateng, Gideon Paddy is in his mid-20s making a living out of agriculture. He's into cash crop farming and raises livestock to support his farm business at Adeso. At a time where most of his peers only dream of white-collar jobs, Gideon Paddy is determined to turn his family inheritance into gold. Here in the slum of Kotobabi.
So why they go change, oh, they never go change. They never go change, oh, they never go change. They never go change, oh.
Soon, we're in his house close to a huge storm drain. The goats here started bleating upon seeing him. He grabs the key and goes into a small wooden structure on the compound to get some grated cassava. We sat on one of the uncompleted buildings on the compound where he opened up his heart to me.
How did you get into farming, the business of farming?
It just says Akuko Dakun was one of my mentors. He was into poultry. So back then, GSS, I wanted to go into poultry. But here lies the case, my grandparents had goat.
You're talking about Daku farms.
Daku farms. Yeah, Daku farms. Yeah, Daku farms. So I wanted to go into poultry, but I didn't know how. So, okay, what do I do now? Okay. So back then I was a graphic designer, and then even the money there wasn't enough for you to be able to be saving to go into agric. So after my grandfather, who was controlling the goods, died, and then when he died, I think nobody was interested in taking care or turning this into something else. So I saw an opportunity in it, and then I met some few friends, someone like John Ama, John Nana Ben Yeboah Gansa of Food Factory. So they really opened my eyes. And then Dennis, one young farmer in Volta region. So coming, when he saw the goats, he was like, Gideon, do you know this thing is billions of dollars? And I was like, how? He said, sure, this is good. So he started, like opening up certain things to me. The farm in Adesu is about 70 acres. I wasn't so much good in school, as in mathematics, but I really loved agriculture way back in school. And then also growing up with my grandparents, they were into livestock production, they were into goods. So I grew up in a home where we like, my grandparents used to rear goods, they reared goods. And then those days I was the feed boy. I used to go around, soliciting for food for animals. Yeah, so I picked up certain things there. But I wasn't so much into it because I didn't see the value of what is good. I didn't see the value of goods, or let's say livestock. For me, I call agriculture the Messiah. The reason why I call agriculture the Messiah is agriculture is the savior. It doesn't matter your background. It does not matter your educational background.
Now you're into crop production, young person in your late 20s. What are some of the challenges of farming?
Number one is funding. First of all, I would like to say kudos to the government for bringing up such an initiative. But some of us, we've not, go near that because, we are living in a country where most of our things we do is political affiliated. If you are not affiliated to a political party, you don't get access to such fundings and things.
A lot of the agric that we do here in Ghana, it's not mechanized. So you go to the villages and then people are using hoes and they're using cutlasses and all of that to farm, and that makes the job very tedious and cumbersome. Some people actually say it repels young people from going into, because it doesn't look attractive. What kind of logistics do you have on your farm? I mean, do you have access to the earth moving machines? Do you have access to what kind of logistics do you have on your farm? Or you also do the cutlasses and all of those?
We use the cutlasses and all those stuff, but we do rent some of the tractors, like tractors to help us plow our land and all those stuff.
You hire them?
Yes, we hire them.
How do they come at a huge cost?
Let's say in our district, Adesu, I think renting a tractor, an acre is 120 Ghana cedis. In Adesu, there are a lot of young people there whom should be on the farm, but they themselves, they are now into this Okada business. But this is
why are they now into Okada business?
As you were saying,
because the farming is not lucrative enough.
It's not lucrative enough. They don't find it very lucrative because they don't have access to all these how do you call it, these machines and all those stuff, which will make the work very easy.
So why they go change? Oh, they never go change. They never go change. Oh, they never.
Gideon is not the only young person determined to make it. He took me to a cattle ranch very close to his house and tells me what his peers are also doing to free themselves from the shackles of poverty.
This cattle ranch, I call it urban cattle ranch. It's for some of the young guys around. What they do is they bring together money, they buy cow, they raise them, and then when it is time for the Eid, the biggest one, they sell them and then they make some money. So this place, they do it like it's a crowdfunding. Yeah, so most of the young people, that's what they do around.
So like how many cattle do we have here? Do we have sleeping here? I hear they've gone to graze?
Yeah, they've gone to graze. They have over 100 of them here, 100 cattle, so over 100 cattle here. It's profitable because let's say buying a young calf at 800 Ghana cedi, raising it for a year and then making 2,000. Yeah, it's cool.
So why they go change? Oh, they never.
Every cloud has a silver lining, and Gideon Paddy has found his silver lining in a thick cloud. For Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
They never go change. Oh, why they for change?
Now, is that typical story of poverty and how people are trying their own small way to break those shackles and become successful in the country today? But like it or not, poverty has everything or every link to do with politics today, because when the politicians come in times like this, they make promises to you saying that they will do one thing or another to alleviate poverty. But are they doing it? Big question. With 50 days to go to the elections, I'm sure that is something that will be on your mind in taking a decision on who you vote for. But in the midst of the talk about the men and the women disqualified, I'm talking about the race for the presidency, he has been a lone soldier, treading the dark and ignored path to get his good self onto the ballot paper. J-O-Y, joy, not the common three-letter word of bliss and excitement that comes with a wry smile. I'm talking about the initials of the only independent candidate standing in the 2016 presidential elections. Will he be second time lucky? With limited options now, does he stand a better chance or shot at the presidency? Jacob Osei Yeboah is my guest today on The Pulse. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you for...
It's been a long while. Where have you been?
I'm in Ghana. I haven't gone anywhere. And I've been contributing my quota up to date.
Okay, because some will say since the 2012 elections, after the results were declared, very little was heard of JOY.
Not at all. Not at all. I've been contributing on every issues of national importance, especially in terms of security-wise. Because, you know, one of my mission is just to ensure that there's this socio-political stability. Our security as a nation is paramount. And so that is what I've been doing. And in terms of energy and so on and so forth, I mean, when you Google my name, in most of these topical issues, you see how I have contributed.
But speaking about issues is one thing. The other part to also think about is that you contested in an election. Clearly you didn't win. Yeah. So between
like the other 7.
Okay. So between then and now, what have you been doing with your political life?
You see, normally when such questions are asked, we are used to, as a people, with understanding that when we talk about politics, it's about coming out and speaking against the government. That is when you will be seen as doing politics. But that is not my style. You see, I think a politician is someone who thinks that he or she has come to a point that he must give back to the society that has nurtured him or her.
Give back in what sense?
Give back in anything to make the society a better place than he or she found it to be.
In your own words, if you say that, then I need to ask, in the past 4 years, what have you done to improve the lives of Ghanaians today?
There are a lot of things. I came out with this idea of the fact that, you know, we need to modernize our governance system. And it was something that I muted out, but because I wasn't in power, I was sharing these ideas with the government in place to try and implement it. That is what we call the National Electronic Data Infrastructure. I mean, it was captured in the Daily Graphic, front page series here and there, and other papers as well. It's very important. That is something that we need.
Has it moved from idea to reality yet? Because some will say that if I'm assessing what you've done for me in 4 years, it will not be about the fine ideas on paper. It will be about actions taken.
If I were to be the president, it might have been implemented by middle of 2014, but it never happened. Though it's ongoing, it's been delayed, but I think that this government is just trying to see how best to implement it, but I don't know the time which...
Okay, we'll come back to your big ideas and why Ghanaians in this election with 50 days to go should think of voting for you in this year's elections. But let's talk about the process in even getting your name on the ballot in this year's elections. How has it been for you? Because you've seen some other people very angry and unhappy about how things have gone with the forms that they filed. How about you? How come you got it so smooth and without blemish?
First and foremost, you know, this is my second time. In 2012, the same thing happened. I went through and others were disqualified. And this time round, I also learned my lesson from the 2012 one and built on that experience.
What lessons are those?
You know, in 2012, when I got in there, I had a problem with about 2 of my subscribers. And so the EC told me that, no, these people do not qualify to subscribe for you. And so we had to go back and then make sure that we get.
You were given notice before the deadline?
No, you know that in 2012, it's just within that space of time that you've sent it. And so by mid of day, up to the end of the day, I mean, we managed to get those things done. And then we went through and we learned our lessons very well.
Okay.
And so this time round, we were determined not to do that again. And by God's grace, we managed to.
So what then does that say about the others who could not make it? Because of the example you gave of the subscribers that you had issues with in 2012, the EC allowing you to have that sorted out so you can contest. Some say they did not get that opportunity this time around.
You see, it's what has happened now. You need to have a good team. I can assure you that the team that I had, 10 people that went around the region, they were very good. The only thing is that as a leader, I just try to protect the identity of the people that work behind the scenes for me. I mean, some work with insurance companies here and there, so I just try to protect them. But I can assure you they are trusted people and they did a very good work. You know, my background as an electrical engineer with identity, this biometric identity technology, that one also helped us. With our ICT knowledge, we had to ensure that we validate each and every single subscriber that they brought.
So, okay, I get that point. You got it right in this year's elections, learned your lesson from 2012. But should the other parties who are raising their concerns be given the same opportunity you were given in 2012 to correct this so they can contest?
You see, I just don't want to go into this issue now.
But why not? Because you're seeking the presidency.
No, it's now in the court. Now the EC used the law to disqualify them, and they think that they also want to use the law to contest whatever decision that the EC has taken. At the end of the day, I'm so excited. Do you know why? Because I have defined democracy as war of ideas fought with the weapons of rule of law. And so at the end of the day, I came out with a press release stating that it's not a victory for me, nor even for the qualified, the other qualified aspirant, but it's a victory for law. Okay? And so to me, it's good. They can actually go to court, and at the end of the day, it's the court that will decide. My case, all the cases that have been brought to bear is quite different from mine. It's not the same thing.
On the issue of subscribers, I know there have been 2 cases for some of the candidates who've had their subscribers endorsed for 2 parties, or they're not having the requisite qualifications to do it. And that's why I say that. Do you think that example of you being given the leeway in 2012, the same should apply now? Never mind, this matter is in court.
No, the most important thing is, what is the law? What does the CI 94 says with regards to this? That is because there have been a lot of changes in CI 75, which has been transformed to CI 94, and you could, all of us heard the EC stating the law and the reason why they are disqualifying them. So who am I? Okay, but then I have advised the other aspirants to think deeply before taking the matter to court, because I was again shocked when the EC returning officer, Madam Charlotte Osei, mentioned that she's giving it to the police and the Attorney General to prosecute.
And they're looking into it. Final question on this call, just before we go for a quick break, so you can grab a glass of water just to go down. Now, the issue with the monies that were supposed to be paid, have you paid your filing fees?
I don't know how could I have been qualified.
Because I know on the day of filing your nominations, you were told that, look, based on 1 or 2 reasons, hold on. But have those payments been made? Have you made your payments?
Yes. Well, without that, yeah, we could have done.
Everything has been done.
Everything. You see, the only thing is that we as leaders must always be an example, especially in respect of our laws and regulations.
Okay, we'll pause on that point. You're still watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're speaking to one of the 4 who are guaranteed to be on the ballot box on the ballot paper in this year's elections, Jacob Osei Yeboah, we all probably call him JOY, Joy. He's contesting in this year's elections. We'll continue our discussion with him after the break. We'll find out what big ideas he's bringing this time around and why we should ignore the two options and go for him in this year's election. Details after the break. Stay with us.
We have three options.